Now, prior to that, my mother-in-law is a pre-sexual revolution generation, right? And she used to tell me this is like when the first like fertility clinics came out, sperm banks, people were losing their minds over it because they said that women will go and electively do this so that they can have babies without a father. Right. And that was a scandal prior to the sexual revolution, because if you had a child out of wedlock before 1965 in the 50s, early 60s,
extremely frowned
you would
upon.
have, and it doesn't matter what religion you are. It was just a social stigma was to like, if you had like a daughter that got pregnant in high school at 16 or 17, she told me this, they would have to put that girl away. That's what they say, put her away, which meant she would either have to go have the baby and put it up for adoption, or the baby would be had and then it would be parented by the grandparents, because the parents it was brought shame on the family as a result of that. So when we go back to the story,
I don't think Americans understand that this was a very shunned upon thing.
Dude,
Ted Bundy's, I think it's Ted Bundy's mom, if I'm not mistaken, she had him, father wasn't there, out of wedlock. And they had to live in they had these like homes for like single moms.
Yeah.
I forget what it's called, but it's like they're defunct now. They don't exist.
The stigma for being a single mother prior to the sexual revolution was scandalous. Afterwards, in the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, you're a fucking superhero.
You want to hear something interesting I heard this week?
You're doing it all. I never needed a dad. You can do both of them just fine.
Interesting story. During the civil rights era, there was a woman that did exactly what Rosa Parks didn't want to give up her seat, etc. She was a single mom though. So they didn't want to push that. They didn't want to use her.
They bring it up.
They didn't want to use her as the so they let her ride. Hey, we're not going to prop up your story about you not wanting to get up. They waited till Rosa Parks did it because Rosa Parks wasn't a single mom.
Yeah.
So that's how powerful it was back then. Nowadays, women are fucking proud to be a single mom. But
and electively do so.
Yeah.
Like now.
Oh yeah.
I'll tell you what's funny is I've been reading these stories about these guys. I think
they brag about it.
They're in like Denmark or in like Amsterdam or something like that. There's like they're like sort of like black market sperm donors right now, and it's a real problem because these guys are like sought out like this. Like they'll have there's guys on this sort of these I want to maybe they're dark websites or web 2.0 sites, but these guys basically will give you a donation of sperm, and there's like certain individuals that are so popular that they keep getting chosen over and over and over again. And the problem with that is like the guy is like siring like dozens and dozens of kids with random women, and that can be a problem if those kids end up meeting each other and like getting together in the future kind of thing. So it's this inbreeding that goes along with that. And so like that is a modern day contemporary problem that we have right now as a result of one invention that was amplified by technology later on.
And you talk about that too, how these guys in 1965 with this birth control, right? Like the women's rights movement was more about like civil liberties, voting, all sorts of stuff. Then after 1965, it's sexual autonomy. And I think you've talked about this before. Like the guys thought yes, we're all gonna get laid. This is gonna be awesome.
They didn't realize they were just basically selling themselves out. They didn't know. They didn't. Fuck, if I can get laid and I don't have to worry about pregnancy.
Hypergamy reared its ugly head, and they're like, oh, well, now effectively 80-90% of you guys are fucking sexed out.
Yeah.
And
I think what happens is like when people talk about, I hear tradcons talk about this all the time. They go, well, it's the guy's fault because they couldn't keep their dicks in their pants. It's like, it's a new technology. They don't know what's going to happen. They only see in what the proximate outcome is, which is I can get laid and I don't have to worry about a baby. Fuck yeah.
Need some water?
Yeah.
Caffeine. Yeah.
Yeah. So when I make the distinction between pre-sexual revolution and post-sexual revolution, I don't think it's so much about the like the sexual permissiveness as it is the fact that that you have to look at the root technologies that allowed for that mentality to exist in the first place. So when people want to blame like baby boomer men for not being able to keep their dicks in their pants, it's like you would have done the same thing because it's like it's brand new. It's something that you've like never had in the history of mankind.
If like a technology came out today, right? And there
and there will be something.
Oh yeah. You can eat as many calories as you want, you won't get fat. Dude, people are going to be fucking eating themselves into fucking death with, candy and all this other stuff. But what's going to happen? They're going to get sick. They're going to feel like crap. Their teeth are going to rot. Like there's always like negative consequences to something that you think.
We never look at it in terms of those. We don't look in the long term. There's a really great line in Jurassic Park where they say you're so preoccupied with, can we do this? rather than should we do this?
Good
Because
point.
we don't
Good
know. We don't know what the long-term implications are for humanity. We just thought it was great. Oh, well, women have the right to choose, right? Women, whether, if you think about, like, if you look at abortion right now, abortion is basically a fail-safe for bad reproductive choices.
Mhm.
Those bad reproductive choices as caused by a technology that allows you to
Bills,
have
can you
sex
get that video
without
ready? Actually, we're on
pregnancy.
this topic.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say,
Keep
coming around.
the Twitter one. Yeah. Keep going, Rolo.
Are you out? I don't. Oh, do I have the keys? Yeah, I do have the key. You want the fob? Yeah, I got the fob. My
Oh,
bad.
thank you, bro. Yeah, you just get some caffeine. You want anything? This is my third stream. I'm dying.
No,
And I was- I
I'm
only-
fine.
And only guys,
I don't need
just so
any.
you guys know, I only look. You guys better work fucking hard, man. I went to the gym this morning. This morning, like
Mhm.
3 hours of sleep. Did a stream with the Hot Stones. I'm here with Rolo. We're still going hard to pay. I'm getting some goddamn caffeine because I'm tired. But we're gonna keep going.
Dude, that's
'cause we're gonna
my
give you guys a
that's
good
my
show.
diet plan, by the way.
No breaks.
Caffeine and stress. That's
Yeah.
how I stay svelte. That's how I stay.
Yeah.
This good looking.
So,
right? Yes.
okay, so sorry. You were talking
Well, I
about
just say,
the
say that I think that the as far as sexual permissiveness is concerned, I think it's just the natural outcome of a technology that humanity wasn't ready for. It's what's called I think it's called.
You think
like,
humanity wasn't ready for it?
No, of course not. Not
Birth control?
to the sense where like we would see like we didn't want to look down the road and what would be the possible implications of social implications.
You know what's
of it.
scary? It's 2024, and we've had what 60 plus years of birth control,
Mhm.
and we still haven't fine tuned it. Like it still has massively bad side effects for a lot of women. It still
Mhm.
causes
Oh, yeah.
a lot of issues.
Yeah.
It's still incredibly unhealthy.
Mhm.
So it's like I can't even imagine what birth control is like back in 1965. It was
Mhm.
probably it was way more primitive, probably sucky side effects, etc.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we always look at it like, oh yeah, this is great. Like, and made a great quote, like, hey, could we do this? But should we do
Should
this?
we actually do this?
And the reality is like the same thing. Like if we came out with a pill where you don't gain weight,
Mhm.
but you can eat whatever you want. Well, there's always going to be side consequences to that.
Mhm.
For example, you can now eat as much candy as you want. Your teeth are going to rot. You're probably going to get some diabetes. You're probably going to still feel like crap because when you eat a lot of candy, you get that really sick,
Mhm.
nauseous feeling. So there's always something that comes
and
into
there's
play.
downstream effects that you're going to have to worry about. And
Always side effects.
in my fourth book, The Rational Male Religion, in the introduction, I was actually, I think it was the first introduction, the first or the first section of it. I mentioned this. I say, look, the every so often in human history, there comes a technology that we're completely unprepared for, like nuclear weapons. Like when we drop the bombs on
Yeah.
Hiroshima and everything, we can do this. Should we do this?
Yeah.
Is the next
Good
thing.
point.
And there's ethical implications, but not even so much that one technology fundamentally changed geopolitics forever. Okay?
Yeah.
And it's what I call, like, every now and then it's like, remember in the Bible how it's like, there's the tree of knowledge and Eve eats the apple from it. I look at that sort of as like sort of an allegory or a metaphor for every now and then there's a technology, or there's some new thing that drops from the tree of knowledge, and we have this, and now we have the responsibility to do something with this, right? Atomic weapons, obviously. Okay. The printing press from the Gutenberg press back in like 1480 or something like that. That was a technology that increased literacy in Western Europe. And what did it do? It also caused wars between the Protestants and the Catholics back then, because it was now everybody could read the Bible, and they could say, you guys, there's some chicanery going on here with the Catholic Church. And so now we're going to be we're going to be the Protestants. Martin Luther knocks the, stuff to the door there. As a result of one technology, the Gutenberg press, movable type. Okay. So fast forward to 1965, that's another apple that falls off the tree of knowledge. And now we have to find some way to deal with this. And not only just the fact that, hey, this is a great new technology, we can fuck and we don't have to worry about getting pregnant, but it's the internet is just as big a deal as the Gutenberg press.
Yeah.
And so when I talk about like sort of these new technologies that drop off the tree of knowledge, it's sort of, like I said, it's a metaphor for what's known as evolutionary gap.
Mm-hmm.
And it means that technology advances way faster than our evolution and our instincts can process that and see ahead of the game. So for instance, like when did the Wright brothers start flying? 1906 or 1910 or something like that.
Yeah.
By the 50s, we have jet engines, and we've got Sabre jets, and we've got Phantom jets, and the 1970s, in less than 100 and under 100 years, right?
Yeah.
We
B-2 bombers
we
and all
did
this
put
shit.
a man on the moon in the 60s but we were flying in 1910, right? Then we have computing. If you look at like the computers of say the mid 80s to this right now,
Yeah. Your phone is more
you have
powerful.
you have the access to all the world's information on this one device right here. If I was to take this back to the 70s, people would think I was the devil.
Yeah, they would.
Yeah.
They'd probably execute you.
Yes, they were.
What is this?
Yes, yeah, exactly. So
yeah, the smartphone. There's a couple of inventions that come along that literally change humanity.
Social
forever.
media is one of those too.
Yes.
Pornography.
You know what the
digital
scary part is?
pornography is one of those as well.
People don't know that it's
Mhm.
one of those yet. That's the issue.
Mhm.
People don't know yet that social media is one of these situations, like a birth control, etc.
Right.
They don't know yet. But I promise you, I would argue in 15 years, right? Like when I'm probably right around your age, and then like my brother, the Gen Zers are adults, or they're starting to become like in their 30s.
Elderly. Oh,
Yeah.
the Gen Zers. Yeah.
When the
okay.
Gen Zers like get into
Gen
their
X.
30s,
we're kind of getting there.
the Gen Zers, because they grew up on cell phones, they grew up on iPads,
Sure.
etc. When they become like in their 30s, they're going to be able to look back and say, yeah, this is a fucking problem.
Mhm.
Because now we've had a few generations that have dealt with social media
Mhm.
and lived through it. And I think they're going to be able to effectively
Because the
look back
bills
and
are
say,
going to
yeah,
come due, because there's going to be long-term consequences, and they're going to realize what those were as a result of what they were doing in their 20s.
people are slowly picking up on it now, but I don't think it's created enough of an impact yet.
Mhm.
We need another generation or two to like wake up and be like, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah, exactly.
And I think the most destructive of them is Instagram.
Yeah, Instagram. I love Twitter, but I gotta say, it's social media in general, because, and I think it was another quote I did in the religion book. Zuby said, I'm going to paraphrase Zuby here, but human beings were never evolved to have the kind of communication that we have today. Like, we evolved to be in like hunter-gatherer tribes of 100, 150. And that was like our local sexual marketplace. That was who you knew everybody in your group. You knew who the elders were. You knew who the youngsters were, and everything else. And now we have this ability. And I was just bringing this up with Mike Sartain, because I'm 56, Mike's 46, Sterling Cooper's 36. There's 10 years difference between all of this. And I think like Kyle's like 26, so that's and I don't have,
That's funny.
I don't even think about age anymore. So like when chicks come up to me and go, oh, it's not appropriate for a 46-year-old to be with a 22-year-old girl. I said, yeah, in the 20th century, in the 21st century, we do things a little bit differently right now, because we have this globalized community right now. And if that's the way it works, then that's the way it works for them, right?